Welcome to the first annual Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. My name is KC. I will be your humble host for the evening as we review the biggest embarrassing failures of 2023. Now, in order to get the full viewing experience here, I encourage everyone to apply their woke cats as we experience the life of a huge embarrassing failure. With over 1,100 votes cast, our 5 contenders, they are waiting with anticipation to see who is going to take the crown. Let's take a moment to introduce our contenders. First, we've got the bearded beauties in the WNBA. With nearly 30 years of embarrassing failure, the dump divers have proven to be formidable contenders. After years of research, doctors at Woke U have determined that attending events at the dump is the best cure for sleep apnea. For decades, this collection of pretend basketball players, they have amazed dozens of people in barely filled high school gyms with their unique ability to airball dunks. Free throw attempts that fail to make it past the free throw line. At the end of the fourth quarter, when games are tied 0-0, the bearded beauties entertain the handful of people that have remained awake with exciting facial hair counting contests. 2023 happened to be a banner year for embarrassing failure in the dump as we witnessed the immaculate return of Bob Griner. In her first game back with the Phoenix Masculines, tickets were going for as low as $5 and front row seats were empty. According to the official statement from the WNBA, this had nothing to do with lack of interest. This had nothing to do with embarrassing failure. No. Aspiring trash engineers were excited for the return of their Lord and risen King. But in the interest of safety, dump officials claimed to have kept front row seats empty in the name of social distancing. After receiving their official nomination for the Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards, which gives dump divers their first opportunity to actually win something, Behind the Line received an official statement from the diva of dump divas, Kat Birdingle. We are proud to be recognized for our failure. Our trash collectors have worked hard all year to ensure that the WNBA never turns a profit. We are happy to finally be acknowledged by someone and look forward to Casey announcing that the WNBA is the failure of all failures. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you stand and recognize our first nominee for the esteemed honor of Huge Embarrassing Failure, the dump divers of the WNBA. Our next nominee comes to us from the field of pretend journalism. She is one of the founding members of the Business of Mythical Racism. She also donates some of her free time to charity by volunteering with the group Vomiting Victims. The one, the only, Jemele Hill. 2023 has been a busy year for Smelly Jemele. She began the year with an exciting announcement. After years of begging and pleading after countless accusations of mythical racism, Jemele Hill was finally able to guilt a publisher into giving her millions in woke welfare for exclusive rights to her memoir on mythical racism. The book was called Downhill. It outlines a harrowing journey as Jemele Hill goes through life, being given opportunities that she hasn't earned based on her marginalized status. After she was given endless free promotion by the mainstream media, Smelly Jemele sold an impressive 5,000 copies. Sources have told Behind the Line that Jemele Hill was given hundreds of free copies to give away, but she couldn't find anyone willing to take them. The ultimate victim was able to guilt Spotify into giving her millions of dollars for a podcast that no one gave a shit about. Her unsuccessful podcast titled Jemele Hill is Constantly Bothered was heavily promoted by Spotify. Executives on the platform, they fulfilled the dreams of woke women like Rachel Levine by putting the beautiful face of Jemele Hill on the front page of their website. After months and months of heavy promotion, Jemele Hill failed to crack the Spotify charts. Once the IRS informed Spotify that they could no longer consider Jemele Hill's compensation as a charity tax write-off, the platform immediately canceled the podcast, with most mainstream media outlets failing to notice. Ladies and gentlemen, stand and recognize our second nominee for the Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards, Jemele Hill. Our next contestant is a bit surprising as this company has experienced decades of success. What was once a trusted brand and family entertainment has been infected by deacons at Woke United Methodist and turned into a celebration of rainbows and wieners. Our third nominee for the Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards, Bob Iger and Disney. For the first time in nearly 10 years, Disney failed to have one movie eclipse $1 billion at the box office. Their list of failed releases this year include Ant-Man and the Wasp, the classic tale of a gender-confused former man who is struggling through the scary choice of choosing to identify as a wasp or an ant. Another embarrassing failure at the box office was the remake of The Little Mermaid. Promotion of this film, it was confusing to viewers who have been programmed for decades to believe that Ariel chose to identify as white. In the interest of diversity, and perhaps in a subtle honor to the late Michael Jackson, Disney chose to cast Ariel as a beautiful black woman. Unfortunately, young audiences had little interest in diversity, with the film failing to resonate at the box office. When they weren't busy indoctrinating children through film, Bob Iger, he made sure that his company was indoctrinating children in person by convincing them that the fairy godmother was born with Franken beans. In April of 2022, Disney all but admitted that they were actively indoctrinating your children. As a result, parents no longer trust the once iconic brand. This has resulted in billions of dollars in lost revenue and mass layoffs, which led to the termination of the former lead pastor at Woke United Methodist, Father Jalen Rose. Ladies and gentlemen, please honor our third nominee, Bob Iger and Disney. Our fourth nominee for the Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards is a man who has inspired failures on an international level. He's an inspiration to bums around the world as he has lived for over 80 years without having a real job. He is our fearless leader. He's old enough to be one of our founding fathers, the amazing John Biden. 2023 has been quite the year for Johnny B. Biden. He started the year by teaching the children of America how to properly ride a Schwinn. The children, it's always about the children. Our fearless leader is not only concerned with American children, John Biden also cares about children in other countries. In the interest of fairness and in the interest of securing their parents' votes, John Biden has opened the southern border wider than the Bruce Caboose after the Butt Bongo Festival. This has allowed millions of undocumented immigrants to enter our country without detection. Johnny B. Biden, he's also concerned with the health and well-being of all Americans. During the height of hurricane season, our brilliant leader, he offered a helping hand, giving critical advice to families in need. Let's take a moment to relive this brilliance.
If you're in a state where hurricanes often strike, like Florida or the Gulf Coast or into Texas, a vital part of preparing for hurricane season is to get vaccinated now. Everything is more complicated if you're not vaccinated in a hurricane.
Perhaps the greatest failure of our fearless leader, it has been his unprecedented economic plan. Coined Bidenomics, this amazing plan has led to widespread inflation, record high gas prices, widespread shortages in the pharmaceutical industry. John Biden couldn't have known that limiting American companies' ability to drill for oil domestically while relying on foreign countries to provide energy, that would cause energy prices to skyrocket. He couldn't have known that. So please stand to your feet and give a rousing ovation to the King of Kings and possibly the failure of all failures, Johnny B. Biden. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to welcome the inspiration for the term Huge Embarrassing Failure. This man needs no introduction. This man has accomplished more failure in his lifetime than the billions of people who have come before him combined. He is the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of Huge Embarrassing Failure, Bomani Jones! Do I even need to explain the many failures of Bomani Jones? No research was needed. We have covered the failures of Bomani Jones so many times here on the channel, I can recite them from memory. Starts his career in local radio in the Carolinas, failure. Somehow he parlays that embarrassing failure into a career at ESPN Radio where he draws the lowest ratings ever recorded, causes almost 100 affiliates to drop the program. Failure. Executives at ESPN decide that the Bobo doesn't have a face for radio, so they move into television. They give him Stephen A. Smith and First Take as a lead-in. Once again, the Bobo sets record low ratings. Failure. With years left on his contract, ESPN decides to hide Bomani Jones and they give him a podcast that no one listens to or that they promote. Failure. After years of embarrassing failure, ESPN dumps the Bobo off at the offices of HBO. He is able to convince them to give him a show. First season, record low ratings. For some reason, HBO renews for season 2. After 2 seasons of record low ratings, Bomani Jones canceled and fired by HBO, and eventually fired by ESPN. Going into the Hef Awards, I gotta be honest with you, I thought there was absolutely no way Bomani Jones doesn't retain his crown. No one does failure like Bomani Jones. But to my surprise, Bomani Jones has been defeated. You guys have spoken. Your voices have been heard. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new winner. We have a new leader in the category of huge embarrassing failure. I know you have been waiting with anticipation. Drum roll, please. The winner of the 2023 Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards with an impressive 51% of the vote. God willing, that doesn't happen in the 2024 election, because the winner of the 2023 Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards, our fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden. My inside sources were able to get an exclusive interview with John Biden. He was so overcome with joy. He was so overcome with emotion. He could barely contain his gratitude. Our fearless leader, he wanted to describe himself using one word. Now, obviously, the word that he was looking for was failure, but he was so honored by you guys. He was so honored that you guys named him the failure of all failures. John Biden, he couldn't find the words to express his gratitude. Watch for yourself.
Can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him, excuse me.
All right, just in case you were wondering, Disney and Bob Iger came in second with 31% of the vote. WNBA came in third, 11% of the vote. Jemele Hill and Bomani Jones tied for last place, 4% of the vote each, which I guess kind of makes sense. Both of them are losers in every aspect of life, so it only makes sense that they can't even win something when it involves failure. I hope you guys enjoyed the 2023 Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. I had a lot of you request multiple categories, and I'm looking into doing that for next year. Since this was the first year of doing this, I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted to gauge interest and see how many people were going to be interested in it. This took an unbelievable amount of time for me to put together, double the amount of time that it normally takes for me to put together a video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be expanding it for next year. Now, just a reminder, I'm on vacation all week this week, hoping to get a couple of videos posted while I'm gone. We will be back to our normal schedule here on the channel on Saturday. Hopefully, though, I will see you guys before then. Take care.